the Tri-5 Chevys. They were born in the 50s, forgotten in the 70s, and now sell for small fortunes. But behind the chrome and tail fins of the legendary Tri-5 Chevys are bizarre secrets, wild uses, and a rusty past that you will not believe. So buckle up. You thought you knew Tri-5 Chevys? Watch this video. This is not your grandpa's Bel Air story on today's episode of 5 Weird Things. Welcome to the channel. First, like, subscribe, share the channel. Also, you can become a member and help support the channel. Get some exclusives, video shoutouts, and see all the videos and shorts before everybody else. Now, when I was in my teens, my brother bought an old 56 Chevy 150 business coupe. He then bought some extra chrome for the sides and poof, it became a Chevy 210. Now, sadly, a few years later, he ran into a deer going about 55 miles an hour, absolutely destroyed the car. Now, what's your Chevy story? Everybody's got one. Tell me yours down in the comments. All right, let's get into it. First, the things we all need to know. In case you're unaware, the Tri-5 Chevys refer to the legendary trio of Chevrolet cars produced in the model years 1955, 56, and 57. Specifically, the Chevy 150, 210, and Bel Air series. These cars are some of the most iconic and collectible American automobiles ever built. Often considered the holy trinity of classic Chevys. Now here's why they matter. 1955, that marked a major design and engineering leap, introducing the small block V8 engine, a lightweight, powerful motor that revolutionized American performance cars. 1956 added more refined styling, better trim options, and slightly more chrome, because obviously more chrome equals more class. Now, 1957 brought the legendary tail fins, the rocket-inspired details, and the first year for fuel injection. Yes, factory fuel injection in the 50s. Now, these cars were affordable, stylish, and reliable, and they quickly became favorites among hot rodders, racers, families, and later collectors. The term Tri-5 is now lovingly used to describe not just the cars, but an entire era of post-war optimism, drive-in culture, and rock and roll cruising. In short, if you see a car that looks like it came out of a 50s diner mural with fins, chrome, and a V8 rumble, it's probably a Tri-5 Chevy. Everybody got that? Good. Weird thing number 5. Nobody wanted them. Now, during the 1960s and 1970s, used Tri-5 Chevys, 55 through 57, were surprisingly cheap and widely overlooked. Once cutting-edge family cars, they quickly fell out of fashion as automotive design evolved with sleeker lines, more powerful engines, and flashier muscle cars dominating the roads. In an era obsessed with Mustangs, Camaros, and big block Mopars, a used 57 Chevy was often seen as just outdated, a leftover from your parents' driveway. As a result, many Tri-5s were sold for next to nothing. It wasn't uncommon to find running examples for under $100, especially in the late 60s. Teenagers and budget-minded buyers often scooped them up as their first cars, beaters, even parts donors. Drag racers loved them. The lightweight frames, the V8 swap potential, often gutting them without hesitation. Classic car collectors hadn't yet developed a fondness for them, so there was little effort to preserve originality. Some cars were even junk or traded for the scrap value. One weird twist, surfers adopted the wagons for hauling boards, adding a touch of cool, but even then, it was more about utility than admiration. It wasn't until the late 70s and early 80s that nostalgia kicked in and prices started to climb. Weird thing number 4. They had their own identity outside of being just cars. The Tri-5 Chevys have had a weirdly outsized influence on American culture, far beyond their original role as family transportation. These cars somehow became rolling mascots for the 50s themselves, showing up in everything from diners to drive-ins, album covers to refrigerator designs. Their bold chrome, candy-colored paint, and tail fins weren't just car features, they became symbols of post-war optimism, teenage freedom, and suburban cool. One weird aspect of their Americana legacy is how they've been immortalized as better than they actually were. Sure, they were solid cars, but their myth has grown to near kind of like Elvis-level proportions. A 57 Chevy has been featured in countless songs, movies, and even commemorative postage stamps, turning it into a pop culture artifact. Entire businesses exist solely to restore, modify, and even recreate these cars from scratch using reproduction parts. Strangely, they also crossed social lines. Gearheads loved them, but so did rockabilly bands, surfers, even hot dog stand owners looking for a nostalgic look. More than cars, Tri-5 Chevys became props in the American identity, especially in the romanticized version of the 50s that really never existed. They're equal parts steel and storytelling, chrome-plated time machines to a dream of what America used to be. Weird thing number 3, not just a family car. While the Tri-5 Chevys were originally built for everyday transportation, their sturdy construction, distinctive style, and affordability in later decades led to a surprising array of alternative uses beyond the daily commute. By the 1960s and 70s, as values dropped and newer cars took over the roads, many Tri-5s were repurposed in weird and kind of wonderful ways. Drag racers loved them for their relatively light bodies and spacious engine bays, making them prime candidates for V8 swaps and quarter-mile domination. At the other end of the spectrum, surfers in California and Florida turned wagons into beach rigs, even gutting the interiors to make space for boards, towels, and sometimes even outdoor showers installed in the tailgate. Farmers found value in worn-out Tri-5s too, converting them into chicken coops, hay haulers, even makeshift sheds. In small towns, local parades use them as bases for floats, covering their classic lines in streamers, flags, and papier-mâché mascots. So even in retirement, Tri-5s kept working. Some were transformed into vending carts, barbecues, or eye-catching signage for diners and retro-themed businesses. Whether speeding down a track or serving burgers, these Chevys proved to be more than just cars. They were Americana in action, even off the road. Weird thing number 2, the original rust bucket. The Tri-5 Chevys, America's sweethearts of steel, chrome, and oxidation. Yes, beneath those gleaming tail fins and dazzling two-tone paint jobs lurked one of the most iconic features, crippling rust. It's as if Chevrolet engineered them not just for the road, but for slow, dramatic disintegration in humid climates. Owners in the Midwest quickly discovered their Chevys were not just cars, they were science experiments in accelerated corrosion. Floor pans vanished like Houdini, rocker panels crumbled at a glance, and trunk floors gained bonus air conditioning via the holes. The frames? Let's just say if you jacked up one side, the other might wave goodbye. Chevrolet, in its infinite wisdom, had not yet figured out proper rust proofing, so salty winter roads became the car's worst enemy. Even a garage couldn't save them if the moisture crept in. By the 1970s, many Tri-5s had turned into rust-colored art installations in barns and backyards. Yet despite their tragic love affair with oxidation, Tri-5 Chevys survived, thanks to stubborn gearheads and an endless supply of replacement sheet metal. Today, nobody asks if a Tri-5 has rust. The real question is, how much metal is still original under all that Bondo? And finally, weird thing number 1. Now everybody wants them. Once humble family haulers and surf wagons, Tri-5 Chevys have now climbed the collector car food chain to become full-blown auction royalty. Yes, the same car your uncle bought for $50 and drove into a ditch now rolls across the Barrett-Jackson stages with price tags that could fund a small moon landing. Restored Tri-5s, especially 57 Bel Air convertibles, the top of the line, can fetch anywhere from $60,000 to well over $150,000, depending on how much chrome, originality, or over-the-top resto mod magic has been applied. It's a beautiful case of nostalgia inflation. You want factory-correct hubcaps and matching numbers? That's going to cost you. Now you want a crate LS engine, digital dash, and cup holders that light up blue? Might even cost you more. They're beloved by boomers, admired by millennials who think they've discovered vintage, and displayed at car shows like sacred relics. But let's not forget, these were mass-produced, family-friendly Chevys, and now they're treated like rolling Fabergé eggs, just shinier and a hell of a lot louder. Still, the Tri-5 market shows no signs of slowing down. Somehow, no matter how many survive, and there are lots, each one is marketed as rare. So if you missed the $500 barn find in 1973, don't worry, just remortgage your house and bid with confidence. Well, that's it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed this little drive down memory lane. Do me a favor, watch more of my videos. Take care, have a fantastic day.